Hey, what's up, everybody? You are watching On the Town with Tanya. Thank you for coming back again this week. I appreciate you. Please like and share the video if you can. So tonight's guest discovered drums at 6 years old. He has been playing since he was 8 years old and performing all over places like BB King's, Avery Fisher Hall, Birdland, to name just a few. He has been drumming for over 4 decades. Please welcome jazz drummer Wayne Henderson. Hello.
Hey, hi, how are you?
How are you? Thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate you.
Thank you for the invitation. Appreciate it.
Let's see. So jazz. How you've been playing for a long time. 6 years old. I would like to know what's the first thing that drew you into drums of all the genres, like all the things, instruments for a 6 year old. What led you to drums?
Actually, seeing a toy drum in kindergarten.
Oh, really?
You're right. And from that point, the church I used to attend as a child, there was a young drummer there by the name of Richard Talbert,
Mm-hmm.
who was a lifelong friend.
Mm-hmm.
That he and his family were playing, and he played both drums and organ, and that was really inspirational to me. I began to get more interested into drums.
Oh,
And there was a local Navy cadet around where I used to live in the Bronx, and I would hear them playing the drums, and I would just go upstairs and peek my head in there, and that kind of thing. And that's where it all began, basically.
wow. Wow, that's amazing. Was there anybody particular drummer that influenced you the most?
Most of the people, like I said, was first and foremost was my friend Richard Talbert.
Okay, Tolbert.
He's an organist, but he was both a drummer and an organist. He played both equally well, and
Mhm.
from that point on, as I gotten older, I began listening to more of the big band drummers in jazz, like Sonny Payne, Buddy Rich, and people like that. And those were really great influences to me. And also Connie Kay, who used to be with the Modern Jazz Quartet. You know.
Wow. Wow, some great songs there. What do you do? What is a drummer? What is your practice routine consist of for a drummer?
Well, for me personally, I do a lot of mental practicing. Understand? I mean, I watch a lot of different videos, but I also take a lot of experiences that I've gained over the years.
Hmm.
And for me, where I live in New Rochelle, it is an
Hmm.
apartment building, so I can't set up drums in there per se.
Oh,
So
okay.
I use what is called the practice pad, of course, and it keeps your hands conditioned and that kind of thing. And as far as the feet, I would kind of simulate playing a bass drum and hi hat, kind of thing. And
Re-
a lot of times I'm here at home studying my reading, sight reading and that kind of thing for stream.
Wow. So that's a part.
No,
That's all. Sorry. That's all a
that's
part
okay.
of the skill technique. So you can, I forgot there is that silent pad or something. That's not the correct terminology, but there are ways to practice without sounding off.
Right, and that's right. You got it. That's pretty much what it is. It is a practice pad, and it's the quietest thing you can have available to you to practice. Besides an actual drum, which is too loud,
Right,
of course,
right,
for an
right.
apartment.
Wow. See, I wish I would have known that because I had a nephew that wanted to play drums when he was younger. We were like, you are not killing these neighbors today with this music. Not going to happen. But had I known about that, I would have been like, yeah, let's go for it. Because I feel like if someone's like you were 6, so look at this, you're well over 6 now, and you're playing exactly what you wanted to do, your vision.
Right.
So if someone if would have said, no, you can't play drums, and we're not going to buy any, what would you have turned to? So I think
Well,
wow.
that's a good question. I don't think there was anything else I wanted to do, especially during that time. But I can say, as a child, as a little boy, and the apartment we used to live in the Bronx, it was sort of a neighborhood that, well, anything goes. You can play, you can kind of make more noise than you normally in any apartment setting. And I was
Right.
actually able to play the actual drums set up in the living room. So even though it would drive some of the neighbors crazy, they kind of got used to it after a while. But once I moved from there, that was it. I wasn't able to do it that
That's
way exactly.
That must be amazing to be finding your gifts so young. I wish I would have found mine so young. That's a blessing. Do you think it like kept you away from, trouble or diversions or, like normal stuff that teenagers go through? Do you think that you having your gift kept you away from the normal teenage stuff?
Oh yes, I agree. Yeah. I do. I do
Okay.
because even when I reached when I was old enough to when I had to start making decisions, it was if I'm going to work, go to school, that sort of thing.
Mhm.
Once I was 16 or 17, I decided I'd go into the military,
Ah,
and I did serve 4 years in the Navy.
yeah.
And I actually continued to play drums, even though that wasn't my main function in the service. The ship that I was on, I was fortunate because they had a little band room. They designated a band room, and they had instruments there, so I was able to continue playing and honing in on the craft, that kind of thing. So that,
Wow.
yeah, for 4 years.
That's amazing. I mean, that's most people be like, "Oh, I have to stop," but you get to still keep doing what you love and serving your country. So we salute you for that as well. Um, how do you improve when you're like playing with a group of people? And how do you improv? Excuse me, when you're playing with a group of people, what do you consider when you know?
Um, what I try to do while I'm up there on the bandstand, I'll listen to everyone, no matter if there's 6 or 16 people up there.
Okay.
I want to be able to hear everyone, and I really get a lot of my ideas off the piano player. I really listen, and we've been blessed to have one who had been with us for quite a while. He's done most of the 20 some odd shows we had done at the North Shore Library in the RC Davis Theater. His name is John Coliani, just a great
Oh,
pianist who was
wow.
with Mel Torme and so many others for a while and has his own big band. So he's been a major contributor to the band and what we do. And working with him, even with his own band and his trio, is a great experience too, because he comes with a wealth of ideas and creativity, And I really listen to he and other piano players we use. Everyone we've used on the band have been really wonderful. So I don't pick one against the other.
Right. Wow. Well, that's, I always wonder how that is. I mean, I know there's a lot of little tricks to working with a band, but the improv is so amazing how you can listen to one. I used to do backup singing years ago. And,
Oh,
um,
okay.
and so I would listen to, so when we would do like, what do they call it? Like a jam session, I think it is. When
Right.
we do jam sessions, everybody does whatever they do. So if you're the organist, the pianist, a drummer, whatever instrument you're playing, vocals, you just come in as each person goes, and we improvise off that.
Right.
So
And that's one of the great things about jazz, the improvisation, it's really great. It's a great, skill to have. You learn a lot from one another, and you don't, you tend not to play the same things the same way on each tune, by
right,
way of, you know, improvising and that kind of thing. That helps with that, and it brings more of an element of surprise to the audience and the band itself. Yeah.
that leads to my next question was when you're creating rhythms and fills
Hmm.
on the spot. Yeah, how do you come mesh that together? It's probably the same thing. You're like not at what's the word? Yeah, just listening to each other's vibe. I think right, pretty much.
Right. Right. I personally, for me,
Mhm.
I hear the rhythms in my head, in my heart of a tap dancer. That's kind of, especially with drum solos, I tend to play more rhythmically than melodically, as the approach is today. Um, you know, um, Whatever works for each individual. But that's what I'm hearing, the rhythm of tap dancers, and I never learned to tap, but but I love their ideas, and
Yeah,
that's what that's what I'm hearing when I play.
I always wonder that because each person plays something different, but depending on what instrument you play, guitar,
Right,
vocals, whatever. So that's interesting that you say you hear the tapping. I hear the feet.
that, right,
Um, I can get that. I totally get that. That's amazing. I wish I could play the drums. I used to want to play like every instrument, but I learned the viola, I think it was the violin,
Okay.
clarinet, and then I tried to learn the piano. I was doing pretty good with the ear for a moment, and then it just lost. My ADHD kicked in, and that was it.
So you did learn to play violin, you said?
I tried. I could play Ode to Joy. That's it. That's about as
Wow.
good as I can get.
I got kicked out of the classroom in sixth grade because I didn't want to play violin. It was a string orchestra, but I insisted on playing the drums, and the teacher, he kept explaining to me, this is not that type of orchestra.
Wow. Wait, the
But
orchestra didn't have a drum? Wait, I guess it didn't, right? No, I guess it didn't.
no, I probably would just have like maybe a bass drum and a snare drum, but I
Yeah.
wanted, you know,
Now that I think about it, wait a
drum
minute.
set. That's what I was looking to do, but
You're gonna make your place.
right. And in hindsight, I think I should have, went ahead and learned that instrument. But I'm happy with playing the instrument. I've been
Oh,
playing all my life, so it's not a
nice,
problem.
nice, nice. When you did learn to play, I know they say there's like, I don't know, 25 jazz standards that you should always know just because whatever. Oh, do you remember the first one you learned?
Yes,
What was
uh,
it?
that was "Sunny Mover" to "A Train," songs like things like that. "Satin Doll,"
Oh,
the real standard American classics.
wow.
Jumping out the woodside, basic thing and that. So I was listening to a lot of that, those type of songs. Going into I would attend some local jam sessions in the Bronx. That's where I
Mhm.
learned to play those type of songs.
Wow, nice. Well, I think my viewers would like to hear just a little taste of some of your music. Do you mind
Okay.
if we cut to and try to listen to one of the songs? And I guess you could set it up. It's the middle one on your website. I don't have the name of it posted, but it should say something on there, I think, right? I think the
Oh,
video or something.
I believe so.
Yeah, we can discuss it after. And so
Okay.
guys, check this out. It's one of the sets here. Let me see if I get this right. Okay, give me a second, guys, and just stay tuned. In the meantime, hold on. Here we go. Share my screen. Let's see if I got it right. Here, I got it right. Hey, where is it at? How come I can't see this? Okay, there we go. All right, ready? Wow, thank you. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. You're watching on the Town with Tanya, and I'm here with jazz drummer Wayne Henderson. Wow, that is amazing. Amazing.
Oh, by the way, that the name of that tune is Mox Nix. It's entitled Mox Nix, and it's by the great Art Farmer. Now it's German language. I forgot exactly what it means, Mox Nix.
Mhm.
It's one of those tunes that the band really enjoys, performing.
Fabulous. It was fabulous. And I
Thank
was watching you guys, how you all played off of each other and waited turns, and I
you.
love it. Love it.
Thank you.
Can you share your thought process on like when you're creating drum parts for original compositions or arrangements of jazz standards? What's your process? Like,
When I'm sorry, you repeat that question again?
what share your thoughts on the process when you're creating drum parts for
Mhm.
original compositions and arrangements? Like,
Okay. Well,
when you're creating. So
right. First thing I try to do is allow the music to breathe, so to speak. I want to make sure that I'm not in the way of the band because I really allow them to stretch out more. So, and just kind of support them, at the same time, still trying to be creative myself.
right,
I don't want to be too busy in the
right,
process. I make it trying to propel the music and make it swing and push, and push the members of the band because I expect them to emote to some degree. I'm not suggesting that that is a thing of theatrics, but I want it to be sincere, and because I feel like the audience they can't receive it well if we don't
right,
receive it well. If they don't see that we're having a good time, because that's very
right.
important. I express that to the band all the time. Don't try not to stare off to the ceiling and look at your phones and that kind of thing. So, and that's what I'm I try to find I try to select tunes that kind of will help you perhaps tap your feet or something like that, because that's why the slogan is jazz with a pulse, because jazz, the way it's played today by the younger people, and I'm not knocking it, it's just more of a freestyle kind of thing. And
Right,
there are a lot of older folks, if you will, who may or may not understand what's going on with that, and I want them to leave with something, a great experience, if
right,
possible.
right,
And whether it's tapping their feet or popping their fingers, snapping their fingers, or whatever. I want there to be some sort of pulse in the music, something that's understandable to the audience, not just the musicians, because I don't believe in playing to just an audience of musicians. That would
right.
just be clinic. I want the average listener to be out there. Those who may or may not be necessarily interested in jazz. That's the kind of audience we're trying to reach.
Right, bring them in. Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that's the goal. Hmm.
No, absolutely. I totally agree. Have you, I don't know if I'm saying that name right, but a young man, he's like, he was in his 20s the first time I heard him. Monsiago. He does, he's this young kid, but he's as close as I can get to young and really playing jazz.
Okay.
Monsiago. I forgot his name. This kid. I forgot the kid. I'm totally
What
embarrassed that I
instrument
forgot.
does he play?
Huh?
What instrument does he play, by the way?
He is doing the horn. His whole group does a bunch of different things, but when I
Okay.
finish, I later on I'll send you and see what you think. I
Okay,
like this.
great.
I
All right.
meant to have his name written down, but I didn't. So, what'd you say? Masego. Is that who it is? Masego? Is that his? I know it's spelled something weird. Magiago, something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, it's okay. I'll get his name. I apologize. Oh, Monsiego. Yeah, that's it. That's it. My niece said Masego. That's his name. That is him.
Okay.
Yes. How do you know about him? Hey, you know what I'm talking about that. But I'm
So
saying
somebody.
as far as technique,
Okay.
and not diverting from the truth of jazz, right?
Right.
Because we can all do our own take on something, right? But you
Sure.
want to try to stay true to the form. So
That's what we're
this
trying
young
to
kid, he's the real deal. He's been
do. Well,
listening to. Yeah,
I will
I'll
have to
when
check it out.
I'll email you him just so he's just your thoughts. But I get what
Great.
you're saying. You want everyone to be drawn in because that's
Right.
what it's supposed to do, right? It doesn't
That's what I'm trying to
discriminate,
do.
right?
Exactly.
Good for you. Good for you. And when you're making your music, and you might have answered this in some form, but how do you know like when to add or subtract from like a groove? How do you keep the energy consistent too? You know, because I know you're going by, you know, a few
Hmm.
things and what they're capable of, what your creativity is capable of, and then what your audience will be drawn in with. But how do you know, like, that's the hardest part of being a musician, is like, okay, right here is where we need to know. Yes, maybe.
Right. And I try to read the room, so to speak, the
Right.
vibe and the audience. And I I explained to the band members before we go on is I don't believe in that theory of warming up. I don't subscribe to that. Like, let's play a
Okay.
couple of tunes and then we can. I think you should come out the gate swinging. I think the very first downbeat you play should be a strong one, no
Mm,
matter what the tempo of the tune is, because people are out there to be entertained. They don't want you to warm them up. They're already
mm,
excited about hearing something and seeing something,
right.
some expectations of seeing something that's exciting, hopefully, and hearing something as well. So that's why I tell them we have to be strong all the way from the beginning to the end, to the last tune. Even if it's a ballad, and even if you're playing at a lower volume, you still have to. I expect them to still play with the same intensity, even if it's a ballad. Still has to. Um, it can be a beautifully played ballad, but still the intensity has to remain there in
Wow.
place.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everything has to be swinging and moving. And I want these guys to we try to feed off each other, and communicate with each other and support one another. I don't want them when one is taking a solo, the other one is staring off into the deep end. I don't want that either. So I try to get
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that I run a band like the military or anything. I just have a little talent for
Right,
distraction, you know, because I see a lot of that when I go to clubs. It's almost fashionable and acceptable these days in some
right,
places. I'm not
right.
blaming everyone with that, but that's kind of the way I approach it. Well, we approach it, you know.
That's
Hmm.
great. I mean, you could see the way you guys communicated on stage just with that little piece. I could see, you waited for each other's turn and you supported each other and, played. I saw each of you like literally watching each other for each of
Okay.
your cue. Like, it's my turn. Okay, here we go. Let's bring this up. Let's do that. Like silent language, I guess you
Right.
call it. It's kind
Right.
of silent, but that's you guys have been playing together for a long time. Is-
Well, there's so many different musicians who play each show. You will basically see a mixture of musicians. I have so many different players that have come on, and because everyone is an independent artist that
right,
plays with this
right.
band, so some of them have their own bands, and some of them are on the road quite a bit, and they do a lot of traveling. And many of these musicians are musicians who have performed with people like Roy Hargrove, Sammy Davis Jr., Buddy Rich, Aretha
Mhm.
Franklin, just to name a few. So, and some are on Broadway. I used to do Broadway myself for a while,
Oh, wow.
and but my schedule wouldn't allow me to continue doing that, on a consistent basis. But I loved it for the big period of time I was able to do it in 1994 or five.
Mhm.
So that's so it's always different members. But like I said, the one consistent member we've had for a long time is our pianist, John Coliani.
Oh, John Coliani,
Right, and
yes.
he's pretty busy himself.
Okay.
But it's always great to have him on board too, and everyone else who's worked with us. You know.
Yeah, that's fabulous. You guys are awesome.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, does it bring a nice, well, if you have pros that you're always working with, then it really, well, it matters, but it's not as crucial because everybody's good at what they do. So now it
Right.
becomes a matter of what's your style? What do what do you call it? Are you considered not the band leader? What's the name, correct terminology when you're the leader of the
Yes, band leader. You can say that.
band leader? Okay. All right. So you're the band leader. So basically it becomes what's his style and
Right.
how is he going to lead us? But you already know the music.
Right.
Like if I say I want to bring it up, bring it down, whatever it is your cue is, pretty much any good musician can do that. Um,
Well,
uh,
as far as leading the band, we will rehearse like maybe before the show, maybe an
okay.
hour. Sometimes I'll bring in some new tunes that we haven't done yet, and I get a lot of help from other band members too, because as far as their instrument, I really couldn't tell them note for note in that kind of in theory.
Yeah.
Um, I know what I'm reading on my part, and what I try to do is not. I don't like to read music when I'm playing. So if you'll notice, I'll have a music stand there, but it has the set list on it, what we're going to play tonight,
Yeah.
because I
Right.
want to be free when I play. So it's kind of like the Duke Ellington thing. Even though he had an orchestra, he really didn't like music on the stands, and a lot of
Mm,
people are not aware of that. But
wow.
because I feel like it frees you up, and you're able to play freely and to emote, and really get involved in the music and what's going on in the audience, that kind of thing. But
Yes.
um, so we get a lot of help from even the musicians who are there in terms of the rehearsals. They help with that also, and I explain to them exactly what I'm looking for in the music. And a lot of people, unfortunately, um, for so many years, uh, some don't respect drummers as band leaders. They feel like you should you're such a background, piece on the band.
Hmm.
But hey, we would have to admit a lot of great musicians and a lot of great bands have come out of the leadership of drummers, including Art Blakey, Papa Joe Jones and Philly Joe, Buddy Rich, Gene Krupa, so many, you know, um, notable drummers who have brought out the best in a lot of musicians. So
Hmm.
I don't subscribe to the theory that you can't be a leader if you're a drummer.
Right.
I just wanted to get that out there, folks.
Great.
In case you're wondering.
You should
Yeah.
wonder.
Yeah.
That's great.
Mm.
What are some of the biggest challenges a jazz drummer would face? Like, and how do you move past that? Like,
Um, the work
mhm,
is scarce because, I mean, for example, even if you're going to participate in an open jam session where you have a lot of musicians waiting their turn to play, you know, the way it's set up, only
mhm,
one drummer can come up at a time. But if you play horn, you may have 6 to 8 horn players up there
mhm.
playing on one tune at the same time, where there could only be one drummer. And by the time the drummer comes up to play, that person may end up having to play a ballad or something. And nothing against ballads, but if you're a drummer and you come to a jam session, you really want to open up and stretch out a little bit.
Right, right, right.
And you know, so we're like sort of the underdog, in that
Mm.
kind of thing. And the direction of music with jazz, that's one of the challenges, and it's a lot of clicks, especially in New
Really?
York.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. With jazz, it's when you if you look at the scheduling on most jazz venues
Hmm.
and go back 6 months prior or even further than that, you're going to
Hmm.
see the same 5 to 10 bands working at the same venues.
Ah,
And I mean, come on, this is New York. It's
crazy.
filled with tons of musicians, and
That's
tons of band leaders. And it's like it's who you know, kind of thing. And or if you're kissing up to the club owner, that's not my thing.
right.
You either
Exactly.
like it or you don't.
Right.
I try to, you know, my girlfriend and I sent to Gladman. She's, a great part of this band and trying to get work for the band and organizing things for us. And we sent out inquiries to different venues to possibly have the band considered, and you don't hear back from them. They have a tendency not to respond to emails, and that sort of
Yes.
unprofessionalism that you have to deal with.
Right.
And right, because what we're doing is we're making a lot of contributions to the community within New Rochelle, especially. We're trying to
Oh,
get Westchester County, more of Westchester County involved, but anyone. And we're open to play wherever we're invited to. We'll
okay.
play.
Okay.
But that's the goal, is trying to, because we started this series of jazz at the New Rochelle Library back in 2019 in November.
Nice.
And then we had a slight pause because of the beginning of the pandemic, and New Rochelle was hitting like the first,
Oh, I
And
know.
so yeah, so we had to take a long break from that, and we resumed back, I think, in August maybe of that
Hmm.
year, 2020.
Wow.
And we've been going strong ever since. And and the audience is growing, and I believe they have a great appreciation for what we're trying to do there. Because we want to appeal to as many folks as we can. We try to put the word out there, and we try to get the band working in some other places. Everyone's working independently, like I said, including myself. I
Right.
work with other band leaders, but I enjoy leading my own band. Doing
Of
the
course.
things that I'd like to do. you
Of
know,
course. Absolutely.
so
Absolutely. Wow.
um, and mhm. So that's where we are at this point.
Nice. And
Mhm.
well, I'll get to that in a minute, but any advice you have for any aspiring drummers who are, for developing technical skill or building a career in drumming?
Uh, you know, with drumming, it's when you go on places like Instagram and other social media, platforms. Most drummers are posting a lot more technical things that's going on, and they're really great at it. The
Mhm.
guys who post those things, I enjoy watching them. But for music, if you can play time, just okay, if you want to say playing a beat or just supporting music, and you have a good feel for the time, that's the most important thing you can do, is to make
Mhm.
the music feel. It doesn't matter how uh, technically strong you are or you aren't, that has to come into play first and foremost. The time, the feel of the music, and just supporting what's going on the bandstand, and just being conscious of that, because it's hard for drummers to uh, develop a certain discipline of not going off and going crazy, because you feel excited and you really want to play more than you probably should. so so you because we can't do like the horn players and piano players. They do there's a lot of creativity going on. You can't be that busy when you're playing drums. And I'd say,
That's only at the end of the night, at the end of the show, when they like give you your 5 seconds, right?
yeah.
That's it.
And remain determined, be determined, and push and ask questions, and don't be, because no one person knows everything. And no matter how long you've done this, there's always room for growth and to learn. We can all learn off one another, and older folks can learn from the younger ones too. Truth be told,
Absolutely.
I know the attitude is like, "Hey, I've been doing this for 50 years, and you can't tell me anything."
Right.
That's not necessarily true, but there are many with the attitude who happen to be younger that this is it. What we're doing is that's where it's at, and what you're doing was from a long time ago. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. That's not true either.
That's not true.
So respect is key. And determination and discipline. That's some of the advice I would have.
Absolutely. And so I see one good question. I see a good question up here. Thank you guys for watching. Richard, who's the one that told me about you, he went to one of your concerts. This guy is amazing. He asked, Wayne, what is it like being a Black musician in the music business? Good question.
Oh, good question. You got another 2 hours?
I know you don't have to go to the back door, but
it has been challenging, and it still remains a challenge. I don't care what anyone says, because it is a factor, whether people believe it or not. Look at the makeup of the bands, and look at, for example, I mentioned Broadway. Go check out a Broadway show and look at the percentage of the pit orchestra.
Yes.
See who you see and who you don't see.
Yes.
That's been a problem for a long time, and it's still an existing problem, and they've never corrected it. Nope. And it's like, it's okay. It's been accepted as the norm, and even in some of these local clubs, it's the same way. Yes. When you're going to, you send information in about your band, hoping to be considered to perform at a particular location. Same thing. It applies to on a local level as well. So it is a challenge. It is. You can have the same skills. You can be a great reader and that sort of thing, and you still are overlooked.
Wow.
And I'm not trying to whine about it. It's real. I'm not going to hide it. It's out there,
Yeah, no, it's still in a lot of industries, but I know, especially music, you don't think that, because music is what supposedly brings us all together. And it does, ironically, even during the racist time, they'd be like, yeah, Billie Holiday, you can sing, just go around the back door. It's like,
well,
what?
yeah. That's true.
I hear her, but she got to go through the back door. Like, this is weird, but okay.
That's true.
So people want it, they'll do anything to feel good, and music makes you feel good, right?
That's right.
But they still have their little qualms about people sometimes. And I think, what's the way to change that? Like, I think more musicians should get together and buy jazz clubs. Musicians of all colors who believe in all colors should get together and buy jazz clubs and change that. Because if they see you have people coming, they're going to be like, wait a minute, we want a piece of this cake. Because right now, you have to look at it this way. I mean, they have to look at it this way. The industry who's not, including, has to look at it like fashion did. We're losing a lot of money because all those people in your family would like to see you, right? And my family would like to see me. So if you don't have people representing everybody, you lose out on all those people you don't have in the band. Like, you don't, it just, to me, it's just dumb marketing, in my opinion.
I know.
I'm just saying.
So
how do you think the sit-ins on the buses worked? Because they realized, oh my gosh, wait a minute, we're not getting we're losing a lot of money. Hold up, wait a minute, right?
That's
So
true.
say start your own table, and not, and it could be with all kinds of musicians. I think if you know, if I have allies in all colors, religions, I don't care what they are, anybody is, as long as you are on the same mission, everybody gets together, pool their resources, and make it something that everybody wants to go to, and they can't, and you can't. It's ours. You can't. So
There you go. Because
Harry did it best.
right. Because you if you browse through some of the videos uh, that's posted of the band, the
Mhm.
makeup of the band, it varies. I don't care what you look like, where you
Mhm.
come from,
Right.
be
Right.
black, white, Hispanic, Asian, I don't care.
No, we don't
You
care.
know, uh, we've had women on the band and whomever, and it's fine. I'm not concerned about those things as long as you uh, present yourself with the right attitude and you're
Right.
ready to play and
Right.
you're on time and you're dressed well because that's a big thing for me.
That's
Yeah,
a thing.
yeah,
Yeah, the
that,
dress
you know,
thing.
I don't waver with that. And some these days, a lot of musicians they don't feel a need to wear
Hmm.
suit and tie.
Yeah.
No, if you're on this band, you'll need to do that or don't accept the gig
There-
because
I am
uh,
with you because you're performing.
right,
Like, and you and I both have on jeans. What's the point of me paying you $80, $100 for a ticket? I don't understand.
absolutely.
Makes no
What
sense.
they what some people fail to realize is that you're a visual effect as well. I mean, people are watching you as well as listening to you, and even if they don't say anything and they appear to be happy about what you're playing,
Right.
deep down inside they may be thinking, you know,
Right.
they sound good, but do they
Yeah. Look
normally
at
dress like this? And you don't know, you may have a potential job out and sitting out in the audience, someone out there who is about to consider you for some major project, and they're watching you dressed so like really like a nonchalant attitude of it. Because if you go to many of the places that bands are performing,
Mhm.
and not just jazz, but I'll speak on jazz since I'm mostly involved with that type of music.
Mhm.
The kids are playing in t-shirts with jeans with holes on, the hats turned backwards, and everything is okay.
Yes.
And up to this day, some people don't think that's a big deal. Well, it is because you want to respect the audience that you're playing before, the
Yes.
venue that hires you. You want to
Yes.
respect the music, and how about self-respect? So
Yes.
and that's what I'm trying to put forth. That's the kind of thing I need on the band, and that's we don't waver from that unless you're doing an outdoor gig and it's a summertime event. Even if you're not wearing a
Right.
suit and tie, I
Right.
still expect the band to be dressed neatly.
Yeah.
Tie,
Something.
shirt,
It's all
right.
about
And I
respect.
think you feel better, when you
I
play
think
that
so.
way. I think.
I mean, I definitely take note when I see anybody on stage dressed appropriately, and I take
Okay.
note when they're not. So you could be Jimmy. Well, Jimi Hendrix is the only person that could probably get away with coming on
Probably so.
and a tie on his neck. That's it.
Yeah.
I'll give him the exception of the rule, and maybe Mick Jagger. But other
Uh,
than that, nobody else. You have to have something. Give me something. I don't care what it is, but something.
right. That's true.
And not just what I would be wearing, because then you and I are the same. And what am I paying you for? If I'm gonna, I just feel like I need to be fully entertained from head to toe, mind, everything, visual.
There you
Like
go.
that's just me. But what are you working on now currently? And what can your fans be looking forward to for your upcoming shows?
Um, well, we just recently did a show up in Ossining at the Elks Lodge up there, and that was a really um, good experience. An audience that, or listening room, if you will, people who actually were paying attention, and
Mhm.
that's important too because you want an audience that's engaged, that really appreciates what's going on. Because a lot of times you'll play in places where there's a lot of talking, you hear the glasses clanging together, and, and people are, their focus is not on the band or what's being played, nothing like that. That's one of the worst feelings for a musician to experience. you're not
I
paying
know.
attention. Like, hey, we're just up here, making noise as far as they're concerned. We're
Yep.
intermission.
Oh yeah.
So that went really well. Gentleman by the name of John Codman, who runs that show. He has a series called Jazz at the Lodge, and they have a lot of great performers in that room. And that was our first time performing there. So the 20th of this month, we'll be back at the New Show Library at 5:30, between
20.
5:30 p.m. to 7:30. And that's a Saturday in the Ozzie Davis Theater. And it'll be with the sextet. And should be fun. We hope that you'll turn out. And you're welcome to attend also. And anyone
I,
else you'd want to invite.
I would love to, but I'm over in London.
I'll skip that trip. Come over here to band.
But I know people around that way who might
Okay,
want to
we'll
be.
bring the band to London. So,
Yes, actually, I know some people in New Rochelle. Yeah, so I will definitely
oh,
let
you
you
do?
know
Okay.
for
Okay.
sure. Yeah. But one day, maybe when I get back out here, see if you're around. I'm sure you'll be performing somewhere because you're a fabulous band.
Well,
Um,
thank you. We're trying to do that also. And, like I said, the way it's controlled, the circuit of jazz, it's really, a lot of clicks, and it's hard to get by. I mean, even when I lived in Georgia for a short period of time,
mhm,
it's out there too, but not as much as New York.
mhm.
New
Okay.
York is big that way, but we
Well,
continue pushing forward.
yeah, here there's a massive market for
Right.
it. Oh, massive. I mean, whoever your PR people is looking to, because I was like, wow, someone could really like do a killing here because people love their music and they love their jazz. And there's many
Right.
venues for that. I mean, many, like literally.
Okay.
So it's just a word of advice. You might want to look into like, let's hit up some spots here. Maybe we can do a tour over here.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
a lot of good spots.
Well, that's what
But
I'm trying to get the band to do. We're trying to get out to be able to perform outside the New York area. So
nice.
so we're ready
Thank
for that.
Yeah.
So
Thanks.
if
I'll keep
anyone is interested, let us know.
Yeah, and I'll keep it in mind as well because you guys are awesome, and I love jazz. Just the art must stay alive as is and not
Thank
tainted or twisted.
Right.
you know,
Yes.
uh, you
Yes,
know,
please.
got to keep it as much original as we can because some things just people are trying to change up, and I'm like, no, that's not how that
I
goes.
know. I know.
It's something else.
I agree. I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what else? Any last advice for somebody who may be interested in getting into that field? Any?
Well, anything involving entertainment and arts as a whole is always a challenge, and especially financially, if you're looking to, for example, pay your rent,
Mhm.
just by way of playing on a bandstand that you're not being paid a lot of money, then
Right.
that's a toss up. I mean, I say to those musicians who in artist period who um, decide to take on day jobs and still um, perform on and off the stage, that's fine. It doesn't make you less of an artist. That's a
Mhm.
policy. You
Mhm.
know, bills must be paid,
Right.
and you're going playing, for a club. A club is not going to provide medical, dental insurance for you, life insurance, or any of those things.
I know.
And your landlord is not going to want to hear, well, my gig was canceled yesterday. So
Right.
you must do what you have to do. So if you have to work, because over the years, once I got out of the Navy in 1986, even though the check was very small in the military, it was a check and it was consistent, and I had gotten
Right.
used to it,
Right.
and I didn't want it to stop. You know, so I continue to work day jobs and learn other skills. I learned about doing maintenance around homes and apartments, installing logs, toilets, and that kind of thing. I had to survive. You understand? I
Right.
worked at the post office for a brief period of time, and for
Right.
the city, all kinds of places.
It's
So
work.
you have to do what you need to do to survive, because this is not like it was probably in 1940 or 50 where your rent was like
Mm.
$25, something like that. This is real world. So
Nope.
if you're a young musician, you don't want to live with 5 or 6 musicians, and you're depending on that
No.
gig, then
Yeah.
you're gonna have to
You
think
can't
long
just
and
shine
hard.
those shoes anymore. Yeah, no.
That's
You can't.
yes, sir.
I'm gonna sign 5 pair of shoes and I got my rent. Not now. You got to go and make
Right.
10 pair of shoes.
And so that's what's important, you know. And I'm not knocking anyone who decides to take this on 100%
Right.
full time, but you have to understand what comes with it, and it's serious, you know. And if you don't like going hungry and being broke, I don't like that. So
If
I
you
do
don't like,
have,
I,
you know. So and I know that just
well,
doing
you're
this,
painting a really good picture for my drummers.
you know, I know I'm just saying musicians, you know,
I
period,
do.
no matter what instrument you play. So because you know the work isn't, especially with jazz, it's a very small circle.
Right.
And a lot of musicians, especially in this area, many of them know one another, even if they've never personally met each other. They've heard
Right.
the name mentioned of each musician. So
Right. Right.
a lot of work. It's not a lot of work. It's a lot of work with the same click.
Right.
I don't want to be complaining, but I'm just telling the truth.
Well, here's
You
the
know,
thing about
the
that.
same people are working over and over again, not because they're better than anyone else. That's for sure. You know,
Right.
it's just because of who they know and they're plugged in, so to speak. So.
Right. Well, that's a, with any industry though. You take the good and the bad, the ugly, but more importantly to me, what makes it so interesting is that you're following your gift and your dream. And
Right.
so when you're doing that, you kind of don't care. For me, I don't care if I have to work 10 jobs. As long as I still get to interview people, I get to do my stand-up comedy and write screenplays. I don't care what else goes around that. As long as it goes around that, I
There
don't
you
really
go.
care. Yeah, because I
Right.
love it that much, you know. Same thing with drums or whatever your gifts are to my viewers, whatever your gifts are, as long as you're following them and
Hmm.
you're honing them, everything else will come eventually, I think.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I'm sure your drumming now pays for your bills when you need it to, because you can figure out what to do and what gigs to do and not do, you know?
Right. To some degree, and you know, and I still have to work, you know, in the daytime and that kind of thing, and that's fine with me.
Right.
That it doesn't stop me from playing. You know, I'm still able to do what I love to do, and so it's been a
Right.
blessing. Yeah.
That's a blessing. So, well, you guys heard it all from Wayne Henderson, jazz drummer, one of the greats. I'm going to put you down as, because Richard says it, then it must be true. Uh, thank you, Richard, for bringing him to
Thank
us.
you.
We appreciate you out there. I see you guys out there. So I can't believe the time has gone so quickly. It just flies right by, and you're like, I have like 10 more questions, but I won't. We're in danger with all those questions. I can't even say the word out of my mouth. But I appreciate you so much for taking time to come and telling my viewers more about what you do and about drumming and about jazz. And I think if anybody's out there watching who's ever wanted to play an instrument or drums, I think they'll be inspired. And I appreciate that so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
I really
no,
appreciate that.
we really appreciate you. Who's this? I'm going to look at some of the comments over here. Hi to my audience out there, you guys. Thank you so much, Carol. Hi, Carol. I haven't seen you in a while. Wow. Hi. Thank you for sharing. We appreciate you. What did she say here? Norma. Hey, Grandma. What's up? I hope it gets better. We love jazz. That part of history. Can't let it die. Absolutely, we can't let jazz die. No, we
Thank you.
won't do that. We're not doing that. And I saw a lot of people out here. My niece, Milana. Hi. How are you? I see my brother out there. I see Richard. Richard, thank you. You're the best. You guys are so awesome. I saw somebody else. Who am I missing? I'm missing somebody here. I can't see whoever's on YouTube, but hey, thank you for watching us. Anyway, I appreciate you. We can't see, unfortunately, they didn't master that part yet. But we thank you guys so much. Please share the video because remember what I said? It's not for me. It's for somebody who needs to be inspired. I appreciate you. And hang out for a minute there, Wayne. We're going to just
Okay.
end. And after I do my banners here, what was I going to say? Grandma, thank you. I see. Who's this? I see you out there. Yeah, I'm trying to see. Someone's making a comment. I'm trying to get it before I take it off, but I guess I did not. But thank you guys for watching. Everybody out there, and my YouTube guys. I'm sorry I couldn't see you, but thank you so much for taking the time. Please share the video because somebody needs to be inspired, right? And that's what this is all about. It's about inspiring other people to live to their true life and their dreams. Even if you have to work 3 jobs, that's okay, right?
That's
As
right.
long as you're doing what you love and what God sent you to do, or the universe, if you don't believe in God, the universe sent you to do, however you want to word it, that's fine. But I'm a firm believer that if we were all doing what we loved, that we were called to do, the world would be such a kinder place, I think. Because
I
just be
think
one
so.
mush of happiness. That's what I would say. So thank you guys. And I'm going to end with that note. I wanted to say an RIP to somebody, to Alan, who's no longer with us. We love you and we will miss you, Alan. So that's a big RIP. We will miss you. And that's it, I guess. So I guess we'll check you guys out next week. All right. Stay tuned and hang out for a minute there, Wayne.